Hi guys, I'm Alpha here. Welcome to another Minecraft Money tutorial. Today I got a pretty awesome tutorial for today. Well, that makes a lot of sense. We're going to be teaching you how to add your very own capability. So I'll show you what we use the capability for. If you head over to the block breaker, the item stack handler was actually a capability. And today we're going to be adding our very own capability to the game. So we're going to add a new package for this. And it's going to be .capabilities, and we're going to have multiple, but for today we're only going to have one. And the capability I'm going to add is called a worker. So I'll explain a little bit. All machines that I'm going to add are going to do work. So what I want to do is, in the GUI for our machines, I want to be able to easily say how much work. So in our case it's the cooldown, and you can easily see the cooldown as like a bar. So what I'm going to do is make so you can easily add a cooldown in like a couple of lines. So what you need to do is, the way that it used to work before capabilities was really massive, using a lot of interfaces. So if you watch my RF generator for the last tutorial series 1.8, we actually used like an iEnergy holder and that lot to say what it was, but now we use capabilities. So this is what Tesla uses, if you've heard of Tesla before. So we're going to be adding our worker capability. Now all capabilities actually have an interface which represents the capability. So the interface that I'm going to have for mine is called IWork. All interfaces typically start with I, and mine's going to do work. So it's called IWork. So methods that we're going to need in something that works is a get work done. So that'll basically return the cooldown. We're going to have a do work and another method, and work done. So simply, do work is every time, every tick, what you're going to do. Get the work done is the amount of work that's done, and when the work's done, we're going to call this method. So void, just saying that it's just a method, doesn't need to return anything. You can have anything like int return and int, and you can even have a default, which is a new Java 8 thing, where you set what the default thing is for it, but we're not having that. We're just leaving it as that. So that is our interface which represents work. Now we need to have a default implementation of this. So a worker, something that implements IWork. So implements IWork, and that's going to make us already want to add these methods here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a private int cooldown, which is going to represent the work done. And what we're going to do is going to have a default constructor like so. We're not going to take in a cooldown. We're just going to set this .cooldown equals 0, and the work done, I need to actually change this. The work done is actually an integer, so we're going to get the work done like so, and that will return this .cooldown. And what we're actually going to need to do is put an int in here called max cooldown like so, and in the constructor I'm going to add max cooldown. So if we look back over the tile into the block breaker, we have a cooldown cap. So that's what the max cooldown is. Like so. And what we're going to do is, when we do work every tick, we're going to this .cooldown plus plus. We're going to increase cooldown, and then we're going to cap the cooldown off at the max cooldown. So basically that will just make it so that it keeps you between 0 and a max cooldown. And when the work's done, well, the worker can't decide what's going to happen when the work's done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that we can actually write in here what happens while we're doing work and once we've done work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a private runnable, and as you can see, most interfaces begin with I. This one doesn't. It's a private runnable, and what it's going to be, it's do work, and we're going to have another one which is work done, like so. We're going to take in runnable twice, so do work and runnable work done. So basically we can run these if you didn't work out what runnable meant. So do work equals do work, and work done equals work done. And quite simply, while we're doing work, we're going to call this.dowork.run, and that's because the runnable interface has that method run. And we're going to have work done is this.workdone.run, like so. We're not going to do anything differently. And in the do work, we will call the work done, and that is when it's equal to the 0. So what we'll do is do it if this.cooldown is equal to 0, then we're going to call work done, like so. So that's say we want to add something extra, like so. That will be our worker. So in here we will be able to add the worker instead of the cooldown cap. But what we need to do now is actually register our capabilities. So in the init package, I'm going to add another class, and it's going to be called mod capabilities. And what we need to do is have a capability. So we need a public static final, and its capability. And what we put in here is we put the interface which represents it. So it's IWork. So import IWork, and it's just going to be capability worker, and we're going to initialize this to null. Control Shift O to import all that, and now we need to inject the capability. So this was going to make us want to add missing attributes to value. So the value is the actual interface class. So it's the IWork.class, like so. So where we saw here on the bottom, capability item handler, it shouldn't be final actually. There you go. So if we saw here the capability item handler here, it's the same and it's registered exactly the same. So in here we're going to have capabilities. We're going to have public static void register capabilities, and what we're going to have to do is we're actually going to make a class which is our capability. So public in here, so public static class capability worker, and then this must implement iStorage, and it's the interface again, so IWork, like so. And it's going to make us add some methods, read and write to MBT. So what we actually forgot to do in the worker was we need to actually make it so that we can read and write the cooldown data. So what we're going to do is implement MBT serializable, and then the MBT that we're going to have is MBT tag compound, like so. That's going to make us want to add a serialize and deserialize MBT method. So the serialized MBT is put all the data into an MBT tag compound and return that. So we're going to create a new MBT tag compound, like so, and we're going to do set integer. The key of the integer is going to be cooldown, and the value is this.cooldown, and then we're going to set an integer, not an integer, and that's going to be max cooldown, and that's going to be this.max cooldown, and we're just going to return the MBT. So now we need to deserialize the MBT, so set our values based on the MBT. So we're going to do this.cooldown equals MBT.getInteger cooldown, and then this.max cooldown equals MBT.getInteger max cooldown, like so. Same spelling as before. So we've read our MBT, which is great. So inside here, So in here, what I'm going to do is add another method. So public, and it's going to be void, and it's just going to be set max cooldown. And we're going to put in the max cooldown again. And this dot max cooldown equals max cooldown. So that's just so that we can set it in here. So what we need to do now is actually register the capability. So capability manager dot instance dot register. We're going to use the bottom one, and the type is actually the interface we use. So the IWork. The storage is a new capability worker, and the implementation is just worker.class. Like so. That is our capability registered. So if we head over to BOE, we need to actually register the capability. So right here, we're going to do mod capabilities dot register capabilities, like so. So now we can actually use our capability. So inside here, we're going to delete the cooldown. We're going to head over to get capability, and we're going to do if capability is equal to, and it is mod capabilities dot capability worker. We're going to return, cast it to T, and now we need to actually add our worker here. So just remove that there. A private worker, and in the constructor we're going to create a new worker. So this dot worker equals a new worker. The cooldown is BOE config, and it's cooldown basic. Now the do work is, if we do a bit of lambda, I think that's what you call it. We're going to open it up like so because of functional interface, and I'm going to open up this one as well, and like so, and put that on the end. So what we're going to do is everything from the update method here, we're going to move all of this into this one. Now stuff if cooldown, we're going to need to change this. We're going to put this in this method here, the current state. We need to actually get the current state, so IBlock state current state. That will fix all of that. And here, this is the stuff with the cooldown. Don't need up down cooldown cap, is no longer needed. So that will do our machine cooldown when we do the work every tick. And now here we need to just do this dot worker dot do work, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a is remote check. So this dot world dot is remote, and I'm going to put it's not remote, so it is server side only working. So we don't need to remove, we can remove this check here. And like so, we've got the break block being called. Now this update cooldown cap, because we do this every tick, we need to change the update cooldown cap method. So every tick is when it's powered. So every tick we're going to call this just update I can't spell, update cooldown cap, which in the update cooldown cap method, what we're going to do is change it. So the cap is worker.get, that's the cap, so you want to get the cap. So in IWork, I'm going to do get work, get max work, which that'll mean we have to change something in here. So get max work, which is just this dot cooldown cap, this dot max cooldown. There we go. And what we can do is this dot workout dot get max work, that's the cap, and we're going to set the cap to this, run all of this stuff, and then this dot worker dot set max cooldown, and that is the cap, like so. Now I need to read and write from MBT as well, so we're going to do like we did the item stack handler, mt.setTag, and the key is the worker, and the value is this.worker dot, and it's serialize MBT, and the read from MBT is this.worker.deserialize MBT, MBT.getTag compound tag, and it is just worker. Again, now right down to the bottom, heading over to the capabilities, we've got to turn our worker, so this.worker, like so, and has capability. We're going to add a or capability is equal to mod capabilities dot capability worker. So saying that we have the capability to work, which is great. So we've simplified our code a little bit using the worker, using our capability. So hopefully nothing will change when we load up the game. Okay, so the game is loaded up. It has loaded up. It's great. And hopefully our block breaker will be a block breaker and break blocks, hopefully. Oh, that's from me testing. In case you didn't know, I have actually fixed a tin door. It used to drop 2 tin doors, so that was a bug. And obviously cotton has been updated. So if you place down the basic block breaker, and if I'll just go into creative actually, and go get ourselves a lever, and we should be able to place this in front, and it should hopefully break. Now you do see it does actually say the colour is 00. So you do see that the cooldown is 22. So I think, can I hide JI? No. So we have our machine frame, so we can place it in front, and it will break it. But you see, it only shows 22 here, which isn't exactly what we want. So if we replace it with the other block breaker, the new one, the faster one, it should break faster, like so, and we do not have any errors. So we can see that our capability is working. But if you look here, the work done is staying at 44. Even when it breaks, it stays at 44, so it isn't up to date. That's the last time the client's updated. So I bet if I switch this off, it will update again. So it's basically whenever the client receives an update. So when we change the state, that is a client update, and all of our data is on the server. So in the next tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to use networking to update that variable up here in the block breaker GUI. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I am out.